Ladies and gentlemen, it is update day, and it would not be update day if Jagex did not release today's update with some very controversial changes. Now, let me preface this with, I have not been big in the bounty hunter scene in the recent years whatsoever, but I have been PKing for over 20 years. I watch a ton of PK content, I do a bunch of NHing, and I have a ton of friends that PK in bounty hunter, so I do have a small idea with what's going on and what I'm about to say. Okay, January 29, 2025, Bounty Hunter changes, collection log updates, and emote improvements. Let's start with the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is we see collection log updates and emote improvements. That is awesome. That should be the silver lining in today's update. Now let's go over the changes. All right, let's go. Bounty Hunter changes. Towards the end of 2024, we shared with you some improvements we'd like to make to Bounty Hunter, and today those changes go live. The aim is to address some common issues with build variety and balance, make some of the lesser used rewards more worthwhile, and support different approaches to honor PvP. Okay, sounds pretty good. Conveniently, Bounty Hunter is confined entirely to Daemon's Crater on specific worlds, which lets us tinker with all kinds of options that would usually affect the rest of the game. While we've shared all this info before, we'll save you trawling back through the archives and bring you up to speed on everything that's changing today, starting with changes to Bounty Hunter exclusive gear. Weapon and armor adjustments. Remember, these changes pertain only to items that are obtained from and used within Bounty Hunter. Nothing that you see in this list has any impact on the wider game, so don't start running the numbers on whether or not the Dragon Longsword Bounty Hunter version is worth using at the Wardens. It's not. Ordinarily, we'd use stats images for all of these, but there are far too many for us to go over, so we'll save you some mobile data. We know you're reading this at work, and pop it in to a handy list for all of you. First off, the Dark Bow Bounty Hunter. Increase special attack energy from 45% to 55%. Now let me first start off by saying I am a ranged tank till the day that I die. I love ranged tanks. I have multiple ranged tanks. We have a ranged tank friends chat. I'm currently doing a ranged tank series from scratch. And even as a diehard ranged tank, I do agree the Dark Bow Bounty Hunter version being 50% special attack energy while being super buffed on top of that was a little bit OP, and well, it was a lot OP. And honestly, it was kind of ruining Bounty Hunter. I have to admit, 90% of the builds were running a Dark Bow, and you're going to get slapped on a pure by a 20 defense account running full Morgans and a Dark Bow with greater corruption, all the goodies. You're going to get slapped by a 70 defense rigger range tank in either Morgans or Elite Void, with the Dark Bow followed by double dragon throwing axes. I mean, it was very hard to justify the DPS coming from the new Dark Bow, especially that increased DPS on top of 50% special attack energy allowed you to go from a Dark Bow spec into multiple other things. The Dark Bow was honestly so OP, some people were just shooting 2 regular arrows no spec into double dragon throwing axes, or even more than that. So we are starting off with a reasonable change. Let's see what else we have here. Barrel Chest Anchor Bounty Hunter version. Reduce attack requirement from 60 to 50. Reduce attack delay after a successful special attack by 2 ticks, meaning your next attack would hit 4 ticks after a successful special attack. Okay, the whole quicker attack after a successful spec sounds cool and all, but I really dislike when they change the attack requirements or the requirements for anything in the future. Because how do you think all the 60 attack peers feel now that the 50 attack peers, who are already G-mauling 35, 35, 35, or whatever the max is at the moment, how do you think those guys are going to feel now that the 50 attack peers can also use a barrel chest anchor in addition to the granite maul? And I'm coming with an unbiased opinion, but as someone who has been a PKer for 20 years, it's really a tough pill to swallow when your build that has certain advantages, and the reason why you built it that way is indirectly nerfed by allowing a lesser build to access the things that you built your account specifically for. Now, I'm not saying anyone builds accounts for a barrel chest anchor anymore like they did back in the day, but reducing the requirement only in Bounty Hunter from 60 to 50, it's really unnecessary in my opinion. Alright, anyway, moving on. The Dragon Mace Bounty Hunter, reduce special attack energy from 25% to 15%. Okay, so that would mean with the full spec bar, you get 6 Dragon Mace specs, and I'm seeing right below the Dragon Longsword is the same thing. You get 6 Dragon Mace or Dragon Longsword specs in one special attack bar. If you rock a light bear, that means you're going to have a spec at all times. It's very interesting that they would do that. I mean, the mace is not the most accurate. Neither are being 60 attack, so I don't necessarily think it's going to become meta in the higher brackets. Also, I really can't see any lower level pures switching over to a dragon mace or a dragon longsword compared to a granite maul, dragon claws to a granite maul, or even now 50 attack pures can use an anchor into a granite maul. So very interesting choice there. I know that they're just trying to get, as they set up above, unused weapons. They're trying to breathe some new life into them, so I can understand that. We'll just have to see how it works out. I mean, people are very vocal about changes, and normally I don't know if you guys have ever been to my channel, but I don't post updates ever. But reading over this update blog was very, very interesting, and I had to say something because it's just, I mean, these are so many changes, and I know they've been proposing these things for a while, but it's so many changes that I don't know if it's necessarily changing the meta or ruining metas. And some metas did need to be toned down, the dark bow for one, but making the anchor 50 attack and bounty hunter only, you know, when they start doing things like that, it's okay, the anchor is 50 attack and bounty hunter only. It starts to confuse newer players who want to get into PKing because they have to double check when building new accounts where they can use certain weapons, what the requirements are in the certain areas they can use them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, pretty soon when you build a new pure, you're going to need a spreadsheet just to remember why you're building your account the way you are and where you're going to be able to use the things that you're building it for. Okay, moving on. Morgan's Throwing Axe Bounty Hunter. Buff special attack to have 150% accuracy. That's pretty big. That's a lot of accuracy. Increase special attack damage from 20% to 120% to 50% to 150% of your max hit. That is a sensible buff. I don't know if you guys know, but the Morgan's Throwing Axe, on top of the increased special attack damage, it also drains your run energy, which wasn't meta by any means, but there was certain accounts that would take advantage of the spec by luring people deeper into Bounty Hunter, draining their run midway through the fight or towards the end, and then basically just outlasting them with a bunch of range DPS while they leg it back to the Bounty Hunter bank, and normally get the kill before they make it there. But once we get down below, I'll show you guys why that's very redundant. So anyway, let's continue. Morgan's Javelin Bounty Hunter. Buff special attack to have 150% accuracy. The bleed damage from the special attack will occur every tick instead of every 3 ticks. Guys, this is huge. I don't know if you play Deadman mode, but in the last Deadman mode, for example, if you spec'd a 44 with the Morgan's Javelin, it would do 44 damage of bleed damage, but every 1 tick. So if you spec'd a 44, it would do 10, 10, 10, 14 in 4 ticks. On top of your next attack, whatever you're going to attack with next. It was definitely making for some big combos. And it was very hard to out-eat as well, because if you just had AAA or you pop blocked yourself or something, you're dead. Now, they did put right here in specific, the bleed damage from the special attack will be 75% of the initial damage. So if you spec a 30, let's say, instead of doing 30 bleed damage, it's going to do 25. I don't know if my math is correct there, but that's basically the gist of it. Now, this also is the big kicker. The bleeding damage will be increased from 5 to 10. Because if you didn't know, in Bounty Hunter, when you spec with the Morgan's Javi, if you hit a 40, it would do the bleed damage, the full 40, but every 3 ticks, it would only tick a 5. Who's scared of that? I mean, yeah, it could help you get a kill, but most of the time, people weren't comboing the Morgan's Javi spec with anything because your next attack after a Morgan's Javelin is not a very fast attack. And when you're only doing 5 bleed damage every 3 ticks, basically no one's worried about that. But now that it's increased to 10 bleed damage every tick, that is going to be very interesting to see. I'm basically thinking that all the range builds are going to drop the Bounty Hunter Dark Bow and switch over to the Bounty Hunter Morgan's Javelins. Also, there's going to be a lot of people getting smited now with that new buffed Morgan's Javelin because that bleed damage is going to tick every tick 10 damage while you're getting attacked with the normal attacks. So you're trying to out-eat that big spec and you're trying to keep your prayer up. It's going to be very hard for certain builds to do both, especially when you see what they removed down below. Okay, next we have the Statius Warhammer Bounty Hunter. Successful special attack hit will reduce the opponent's defense by 75%, up from 30%. That's actually very giant. I don't really think it's going to change anything because if you're using it on a pure, I mean, you're speccing 75% of a 1 defense pure down, it's not going to matter. And most mains aren't using that because even if you spec your opponent's defense down, they can just use a super restore and restore it right back up. And because it's only usable in Bounty Hunter, it has no PVM use whatsoever. So it's, I'm assuming, useless, but we'll see. All right, let's see here. Vestus Spear Bounty Hunter. Reduce attack delay after a successful special attack by 1 tick, meaning your next attack would hit 4 ticks after a successful special attack. Minimum damage for the second hit deals 50% of the initial damage, up from 25%. The maximum damage for the second hit is unchanged. Okay, so what we see here is a little bit of a faster next attack after a successful special attack, and we also see an increase in damage for the second hit, up from 25% to 50%, so you're attacking faster if you spec successfully, and you're dealing a little extra damage. Also, if you don't know, after you use the Vestus Spear special attack, you're immune from melee, I think for like 4 seconds or something like that. Somewhere from 4 to 7 seconds, I might be wrong. So we might see some use with this, we'll have to see. Maybe some combos, I don't know. Now this one right here is very interesting. Zuriel Staff Bounty Hunter. Reduce attack requirement from 75 to 30. Boys, I don't know what they're thinking with this. Like, how did they drop it so drastic? Who, you know, they were sitting around like, you know what? The 75 attack Staff of the Dead Mage Pures, you know, they trained that 75 attack for nothing. You know, we're just gonna drop the Zuriel Staff down to 30 attack and call it a day. The reason why that's big is because if you don't know, the Zuriel Staff acts as almost like a harmonized orb, which is a very, very fast attacking magic staff, the fastest in the game, and it does insane DPS. Now, the harm staff is like 400 mil with the orb plus the nightmare staff, so there's a lot of low-level PKers that can't afford it. The Zuriel Staff you have to work for in points, and it required 75 attack to use. So the Staff of the Dead Pures were using the Staff of the Dead to work towards the points for the Zuriel Staff, and then using the Zuriel Staff in place of a harmonized and doing insane DPS. So that was like the end goal for their build, and then if they are unschooled, they could use a volatile in addition. Definitely a very powerful build. It's just funny that they would reduce it from 75 attack to 30. That's a big slap in the face for any mage pure that trained their attack to 75 for the Zuriel Staff. And that goes back to that retroactive reducing of requirements like the barrel chest anchor up above. It's not necessarily that it's a bad thing, but it's really just a slap in the face to so many people who built their accounts around these weapons. And to change it so many years later. Anyway, next up we've got Morgan's Armor nerfs to defensive capability. Morgan's leather body reduced defense from 61 to 35 stab, 53 to 30 slash, 66 to 40 crush, and 62 to 37 range. Okay, that is huge. That is huge. They're basically almost cutting the defense bonuses in half. And for those of you that don't know, this armor requires 78 defense to wear. Right below, they've also nerfed the Morgan's Leather Chaps, reduced the defense from 35 to 18 stab, 29 to 15 slash, 37 to 20 crush, and 35 to 22 range. Once again, I do not understand why they would decrease the defense bonuses on a 78 defense armor so low. I mean, 61 to 35 is almost in half. I could see 61 to 45, 53 to 40, 66 to 50, you know, because if you reduce every piece in the full set, then yes, the whole set does get nerfed defense capabilities, but it doesn't feel so not worthy of using anymore. Now, it does offer insane damage and accuracy bonuses. We can't forget that. But if anything, like I said, it should have definitely been a lot less of a nerf for the 78 defense version, at least. Right below this is the Corrupted Morgan's Armor. Let's see. This is the 20 defense version. So this getting nerfed makes sense. It only requires 20 defense to wear. That's the requirement for Mithril. This should not have almost any defense requirements, and now it basically doesn't. Reduce defense from 27 to 14 stab, 20 to 10 slash, oh brother, 24 to 12 crush, 28 to 15 range. And then again with the chops, reduced 18 to 9 stab, 15 to 7 slash, 16 to 8 crush, 19 to 11 range. that makes sense. It's 20 defense. Now, those defense bonuses are absolutely terrible, but the damage and accuracy does make up for it. If anything, though, if they were worried about it being too cheap and too overpowered, then what they should have done, instead of asking if it should be pulled as a whole, they should have asked the player base, hey, we want to make some changes to all the armor. Would you guys rather us increase the risk associated with using these armor sets or decrease the defensive capabilities? Because I feel like people would prefer to pay extra than they're paying right now to use the same armor they've been using now for years, rather than have the armor they worked for years ago or recently be nerfed so hard they almost don't want to use it. And I'll tell you why. Even though the accuracy and damage is so strong, let's take a look at Vesta's nerf down below. Vesta also gives accuracy and damage bonus, or strength bonus I should say. And the way that they nerfed Vesta is nowhere near as drastic as the way that they nerfed Morgan's. Which I don't know if you guys know this, but right now you can wear full Vesta and main hand a Karasi or Void Wake or whatever, and you barely need any skill. Full Vesta only costs like, I don't even know, like 8 mil or something to use, 6 mil, and you protect the Void Waker. Pair that up with some Vang Sacks that are super cheap, and you've got Torva damage for like 6 mil and Torva defense. Now they did reduce the defense, let's see. Vesta's chain body reduced defenses from 74 to 55. Okay, stab. 81 to 59 slash, 89 to 62 crush, and 95 to 85 range. Now that's the problem. They cut the defense on Morgan's in half, but Vesta with 95 to 85 range? What is that? 10 range defense nerf? What? 81 to 59 slash? These are the kind of reductions the Morgan should have had, not being cut in half. Now, I'll be honest, ranged is pretty dominant right now in Bounty Hunter, but melee is extremely strong as well. Oh yeah, and I just want to say, especially now that they have nerfed the Dark Bow in Bounty Hunter, range just took a giant hit in the combat triangle. And I don't know if you guys have been seeing those very popular builds at the moment. They're 75 or 80 attack, Noxus, Halley, Pures, they're like 40 combat, and their whole account, which takes hundreds of hours to build, their whole account is built off the combination of an Ancient Godsword spec, which is 50% special attack, into the Dark Bow, which is also was 50% special attack. So them doing this, increasing it from 45 to 55%, they basically just ruined those builds, because those builds don't do any melee damage. They only have high attack, but the high attack allows them to use the Nox Halley for Venom or the Ancient Godsword for the spec in combination with the imbued Dark Bow. Now that the imbued Dark Bow is 55%, they're nullified basically. So yes, range took a giant hit, and now melee got a defensive nerf as well, but not nearly the nerf that Morgan's got. I mean, Vesta Plate Skirt reduced defense from 55 to 39 stab. That's a 16 stab defense reduction. Meanwhile, up above, Morgan's Leather Chaps went from 35 to 18, literally cut in half. I'm not saying they should be on par with the Vesta's Plate Skirt, but maybe 35 to, I don't know, 24? Because even that would be 24 stab defense to 39 on Vesta's Plate Skirt. And because Vesta's gives increased accuracy and strength bonus, I really feel they should get equal treatments, or at least in the same ballpark of nerfs. Now, this is funny, again, for the 20 defense builds. Corrupted Vesta armor nerfs to defensive capabilities so that Corrupted Statius stands out as the tankier choice. Let me just say, number one, in PvP, DPS is everything. KO potential is everything. There is builds that use Statius, the Stat Warhammer tanks or whatever, Obby Maulers, 20 defense Obby Maulers, Stat Warhammer builds. But almost every med or main who's using either Statius or Vesta is going to use Vesta. Why? Because of the accuracy and strength bonuses. It also has high defense, as is. Same with the Corrupt version. Let's see. Corrupt Vesta's chain body reduced defense from 25 to 18 stab. Barely, that's 7 reduction. 32 to 21 slash, 34 to 23 crush, and 30 to 21 range. These nerfs are nerfs, yes, but they're a little bit laughable. I mean, once again, it's 20 defense armor. It should never have been very tanky to begin with. That's the same requirement for Mithril. Corrupted Vesta's Plate Skirt reduced defenses from 22 to 14, 20 to 11, 18 to 16 crush, 22 to 15 range. Okay, let's see the tankier option. That's what the whole goal of nerfing Vestas was, at least the corrupt version. Okay, Corrupted Statius Plate Body reduced defenses from 50 to 35 stab, 46 to 31 slash, 44 to 29 crush, 45 to 33 range. Corrupted Statius Full Helm reduced defense from 17 to 10 stab, 20 to 13 slash, 14 to 8 crush, 18 to 11 range. Okay, it actually is still pretty tanky, especially for a 20 defense armor set. Now, they've made it very clear for the 20 defense, if you're worried about being tanky, it is the clear choice to choose from now on. How many builds are being built around, or I shouldn't say being built around, because if you're a 20 defense build, you can use both anyway, but how many people are undecided on which one to use? I don't think very many. Now, this is also some big news. Let's take a look at this. We've got Zuriel's Armor and Corrupted Zuriel's Armor adjust 15% special magical attack accuracy when full set is worn to a flat 25% accuracy bonus for magical attacks, spells, and special attacks. That's a 10% accuracy increase. That's pretty big. Like I was saying earlier, with the Zuriel's Staff being really fast DPS, if you're unschooled, you might bring a volatile in combination. That can definitely deal some deadly accuracy and damage. We've got the Zuriel's Hood increased magic bonus from 8 to 18. Okay, more than doubled. Corrupt Zuriel's Hood increased magic bonus from 5 to 12. More than doubled again. Zuriel's Robe Top increased magic bonus from 35 to 58. Wow. Corrupt Zuriel's increased magic bonus 25 to 46. These are some big accuracy buffs. Zuriel's Robe Bottom increased magic bonus 25 to 46, and Corrupt Zuriel's Robe Bottom increased magic bonus from 18 to 32. Very, very interesting choices there. They were like, hey, you know what? Zuriel's is not being used. We're just going to buff the hell out of the accuracy. Slap it with 10% more accuracy bonus on top of the full set being worn, and then give every piece almost double the magic accuracy. We might have to make a mage tank. Seeing this, boys, we might have to make a magic tank. Now that Morgans has no defense and Zuriel's and Vesta already had no magic defense, the mage tank might be emerging as a new meta. Especially now that you only need 30 attack for a Zuriel's Staff. Alright, let's see what we've got here. These new stats should address imbalances between builds and add a bit more appeal to some historically overlooked unlocks. Let the meta shakeups begin. In one moment, first we want to highlight some further changes to the charge cost of some of the bounty hunter items, which should better reflect their strength and popularity. While risking 50 million GP for a Vesta's Longsword feels fair, risking the same amount for a Statius Warhammer just means that most people don't bother bringing their Warhammer out. Here are the new charge costs of 5 different weapons. Okay, first off, I understand what they're saying, but people are bringing the Vesta's Longsword over the Stat Warhammer if they can use both, because the Vesta's Longsword is just miles better. It's insane accuracy, insane damage. It's a 4-spec AGS that specs faster and can be combined with the Defender. It's absolutely broken. So it does warrant the 50 mil risk if you are risking it as a non-+1. Anyway, we've got the Vesta's Spear 5 mil. Okay, that's fair. I don't know how many people use that as is, and even with all these updates, I don't know how many people will start using that. The Stat Warhammer 10 mil. Most builds that use the Stat Warhammer are already using that as their +1. But I guess if there's some certain builds that can now take a Torture or a Rancor Amulet and risk their Stat Warhammer for only 10 mil, I guess that's pretty cool. Morgan's Throwing Axe 5 mil. I'd say that's pretty appropriate. 5 mil. It's not a very good spec weapon as is. It's very, very niche. So if you want to bring it maybe as a secret weapon, like I said, with that tactic of luring your opponent deep and then taking out their run energy, that might work. I don't know. We'll keep an eye and see if we see an uptick in people using the Morgan's Throwing Axe. The Morgan's Javelin 10 mil. That's pretty, I'm going to say that's pretty fair. I mean, 10 million down from 50 million, that's a large decrease. Again, I don't know if people want to risk a Morgan's Javelin even for 10 mil. But with this new increased bleed damage, rate of bleed damage, and cheaper risk cost, we might see the Morgan's Javelin take the reins from the Dark Bow imbued. Zuriel's Staff 5 mil. Now that is the biggest one, because the Zuriel's Staff is basically a harmonized staff, and that is very OP for a lot of these magic builds. So to be able to risk the Zuriel's Staff for only 5 mil, 100% makes it more appealing. I have to say I'm very intrigued and happy that they're deciding to give Magic some play. You really don't see Magic used in the higher brackets. There is some mage builds in the lower brackets, the pure bracket, the 20 defense brackets, but I mean, barely. Compared to the range builds and the melee builds, barely. So I gotta say, it's pretty cool, Jagex, that you decided to give Mage some big buffs while not being too over the top, and also bring down the cost associated with using this new OP armor. Alright, let's see. If you've already paid to charge some of these, we've added a message in game to let you know that you're all the 1 millionth visitor to Damon's Crater and are eligible for a refund, which you can obtain by chatting to the emblem trader inside the lobby. Don't spend it all at once. Systems and other changes. New stats aside, we've also made some changes to the underlying systems in Bounty Hunter to make this minigame a bit more enjoyable for everyone. Up first, it's time to hang up those Phoenix necklaces. Okay, what the heck? The trusty Phoenix necklace is fantastic to help stave off death in multi-combat PvP, but can lead to some anti-fun play patterns in the 1v1 honor PvP that occurs inside Bounty Hunter. Used correctly, they're able to make players in lower brackets, especially effectively immortal. We believe fights would be more enjoyable without them, so we're throwing them out. Next up, we're doubling the rate. Okay, first let's go back to the Phoenix necklaces. The problem with, first of all, they just decided to get rid of Phoenix necklaces as a whole. In case you don't know what a Phoenix necklace does, aka a P-neck, it heals you for 30% of your max HP if your health goes below 20%. That's why they mentioned it being very useful for multi-PKing, but kind of ruining low-level PKing. Now here's the problem with that. I understand what they're saying because people do abuse it in the sense that in the lower brackets, if you're in the lower bracket and your health is not very high to begin with, or your opponents, if you keep on putting P-necks on, it doesn't make it impossible to KO your opponent, but it definitely makes it harder to KO your opponent. Now, I don't agree, though, with the fact that they just completely said, that's it, they literally said, so we're throwing them out. Because just because something is affecting one bracket doesn't mean it's not used the right way in other brackets. I know most of you have seen clips, even if you don't PK, of some insane DPS in Bounty Hunter, whether it's a Invisivang combined with a Karasi G-Maul or Claws Maul or AGS Maul. But with all this DPS in the recent years, it's getting very hard to out-eat certain things. So the Phoenix necklace actually, at least in the higher brackets, can be used in conjunction with being skilled at eating, which sounds funny, like, what do you mean being skilled at eating? Okay, most of you know what a double eat is, a triple eat, things like that. But things that play a part that not everyone who isn't in the PK scene or a PK veteran don't think about is eating is an art. You have to time when you eat. You have to be anticipating, is your opponent going to spec? Should you double eat? Should you triple eat? If you triple eat, now you're brewed down. Now you've got a super restore to get back to normal stats. And then you've got to also range pod or divine super combat or super combat or whatever you have to do to get back to boosted stats. So knowing when to eat, knowing what to eat, what combination of things to eat is a skill in itself. And combining correct and skilled eating with a Phoenix neck in the higher brackets, in my opinion, actually increase the skill level. Especially when people, I mean, if you can get AGS mauled on 80, almost 50 by a guy in Vestas, which was only like 8 mil risk. Well, the Vestas, that is. With the AGS, it would be like 20 mil risk. You could protect the claws, you don't even need to bring anything that crazy. You could just bring a Dragon Skim in full Vesta, and then an AGS maul, pop a Vang, hit your AGS maul, and even without the Vang, you could KO someone at almost 120 health. So something like the Phoenix neck, let's say you throw on a Phoenix neck and your opponent AGS's you an 80, the AGS is going to hit first. And because the Phoenix neck has no accuracy bonuses or damage bonuses, no one's maining a Phoenix neck. You would wear whatever amulet you're choosing to wear and use the Phoenix neck as a switch. So once again, these had a not crucial, but they definitely filled a niche role in a high-skilled survival. Now, I understand, like I said earlier, the lower brackets were suffering because I know that there's people who do abuse whatever they can not to die. But one thing they haven't addressed in this whole blog, one of the biggest problems in Bounty Hunter, is AHKing and clienters. They don't realize that some people were bringing PNEX because it was the only way not to die to a clienter. A guy using a client or AHK might not kill you the first time. He might not kill you the third, fourth, and fifth time. But if he keeps on attacking you, eventually his RNG is going to line up and that client is going to help him one tick a huge combo, normally capable in the lower brackets of doing insane damage, and there's nothing you could do about it. And that's why Phoenix necklaces, one of the reasons were being used, because a Phoenix necklace in combination with correct eating, double eat, triple eat, whatever, was certain people's only way of surviving near unsurvivable combos. But with everything, we'll have to see what the community says, the BH community that is. Here's the thing, all this stuff is only BH. And once again, it's more changes that are bounty hunter specific. So let's say a new PKer gets into PKing and his buddy tells him about Phoenix necklaces and bringing them to the rogue's castle when he kills bots to help him tank if some peers get on him, or, you know, just an example. So maybe he doesn't check the updates at all and he decides, oh, I want to go to bounty hunter, and he goes to bounty hunter and he brings the PNEX and he has no idea, and then he gets hit with the message. I don't know when it tells you can't bring it. I'm assuming at the portal when you try to go into bounty hunter, it says no, you can't bring that in there, but he gets hit with the message, no, you can't use this here. So now these new PKers are going to be thinking, wait, why is there so many rules? Why is there so many rules with everything? And why are they different everywhere? I'm really against that, because it's setting us on a bad path, like I said earlier, to where people are going to need an Excel sheet just to keep track of where they can use certain things, where they can't use certain things, so on and so forth. Next up, we're doubling the rate at which players gain EP in the crater when they have a target and a minimum risk of 50,000 GP, which is nothing. This won't drastically increase your reward output, and we have high confidence in our anti-griefing systems. Also, again, it's funny they say they have a high confidence in their anti-griefing systems, because not too long ago, when they were banning people for boosting, there was a lot of people getting falsely banned for boosting because there's a guy naked in there looting, and oh, now you have to risk 50k. But let's say a looter picks up 50k, which is not much. That's a couple Ceradomin brews and some opal bolts nowadays. But let's say a looter's got 50k worth of stuff. You get him as a target, you kill him, but he has no gear, no nothing. And the anti-griefing system registers that as boosting. And then you get punished for that. And I mean, as we all know, then there's no way to contact Jagex, explain your case. So you either get hit with a 2-day, a 2-week, or a perm ban if they think you do it multiple times. I don't know how they're going to punish. They say right here, we have 0 tolerance for boosting in Bounty Hunter. My problem with them saying that is, you have 0 tolerance for boosting in Bounty Hunter. But if anyone on Jagex's team, and I know they're busy and I love the team, they do an amazing job, but how can you use such strong words like, or strong language such as high confidence in our anti-griefing systems and 0 tolerance for boosting in Bounty Hunter when clienters are running rampant, AHK is rampant, and no one's afraid of getting banned? But now we've got 50k getting you a little more EP in the crater, and it's 0 tolerance, so watch out. Again, setting a bad example, and definitely, if you're a new PKer and you read this blog, first of all, you're going to be lost as hell. Second of all, it's just going to turn you off to PKing as a whole. And what I'm assuming the whole goal of this is to not only revive Bounty Hunter, but make it so people want to get into it. Because for those of you that don't know, the PvP scene and the Bounty Hunter scene, and even the Wilderness PKing scene, are all in a slow, you know, I wouldn't even say a fast decline. And most of it is because the rampant clienters and AHKers that go unpunished for years. Anyway, that little mini rant is over. Let's see what else they've got for us. We also felt that Damon's Crater could use a splash of color, so we're bringing back the iconic Bounty Hunter skulls. These let you easily determine another player's wrist GP and let you see whether or not a cheeky target might have sneakily pulled out a new special attack weapon at the bank or dumped a bunch of their wrist GP on the sly. We're also disabling trading inside the crater to prevent players swapping wrists to another account before starting a fight. Okay, those are all things that should have been implemented at the release of Bounty Hunter. I know hindsight is hindsight, but seriously, those are things that should have been implemented years ago. So if you're risking, now I do like this part. If you're risking less than 200k, you'll have a bronze skull. Between 200 and 800k, you'll have a silver skull. risking 800 to 2 mil, you'll have a green skull, and risking 2 mil to 8 mil GP, you'll have a blue skull, and if you're risking more than 8 million GP, you'll have a red skull. I love that. For those of you who didn't PK back in the day in Bounty Hunter or the Bounty Hunter creators, when you saw someone with the blue, green, or red skull running around, dude, it was like either watch out for them or I'm going for you. There is no in between. It was either you're the hunter or the hunted. But either way, that skull brought you nothing but excitement and adrenaline. So definitely cool to see that. And also, there's a ton of unschoolers, and they always swear on their mom and dad's life that they're risking 500k. And they tell you things like, bro, if you could just see, I got this imbued berserker ring and I got 200 dragon arrows. Bro, don't worry. I got risk. And guess what? 99% of the time, they don't have any risk. So again, up here, it said we're doubling the rate at which players gain EP in the crater when they have a target and a minimum risk of 50,000. Personally, 50,000 is pretty low in my eyes. I wish, even for a super low level pure, it's pretty easy to make 100k nowadays. Could we not have put it at 100k? It costs 100k to get into the Rev Caves, just to walk in. But in Bounty Hunter, you can start getting double the rate of EP for 50k, which is nothing. Anyway, the colored skulls are an amazing addition because they are going to tell you right away what your opponent is risking. No ifs, ands, or buts, and they can't trade their buddy. Trading is disabled, and that's that. Now, this one is why I have put on the thumbnail that Jagex ruined Bounty Hunter. And let's find out why. Rounding us off is perhaps the most significant of all of these changes, supply crates. Not to be confused with bounty crates, supply crates are something you'll be able to put together in the lobby by stuffing 8 blighted manta rays or anglerfish, 1 blighted super restore, 2 blighted karambwan, and 1000 GP into a crate. Excuse me, what? You can use noted items to make a bunch of crates, but you'll only be able to bring 2. Oh wow, you can bring 2. What? Into the crater with you, you'll be able to open these helpful care packages while in combat inside the crater to extend fights. Okay, I have to be honest, this is probably the most tone-deaf thing they could possibly add in the whole Bounty Hunter list of things they've ever thought of. Now, let's read the rest before I go on. The aim here is to give prospective bounty hunters a better shot at killing their opponent. Okay, first of all, let me stop there. Your best shot at killing your opponent is to KO them. KO them even if they've got a brand new inventory of food, no supply crate. Your best shot of killing your opponent is a KO. Anyway, it says, give bounty hunter a better shot at killing their opponent and have more opportunities to do so before needing to bank. The nature of Bounty Hunter's Honor PvP means you're looking for that perfect window of opportunity. Yes, with your special attack. That is very correct, yes. A flawlessly timed vengeance, an opponent caught drinking a potion. Remember we were talking about skilled eating? A lightning fast combo. Yes, fast combo with your special attack. You get the picture. If you're fighting a build that has a higher DPS, for example, a pure versus Zerker, then you'll often find yourself eating the entire time and leaving before getting the chance to at least try and kill your opponent, which isn't much fun for either of you. That is very true. Again, I mean, it all goes back to certain builds. It's a food chain, you know. Max pures destroy min-max pures. I'm not going to say destroy, but they typically have a higher strength, higher range level, higher HP level. So yes, their chance of victory being normally 5 combat levels higher maximum, you can extend that if you want. But a 5 CB higher level account is always going to be better than an account that's 5 combat levels lower. You guys know how the combat triangle works. 5 combat levels worth of stats is pretty big. So them using the example as a pure versus Zerker, a level 82 pure is a max pure. Well, max 60 attack pure, I should say. A Zerker at 82 combat is not max, but at 87 combat, they're getting pretty close. Just depends on things like their attack level, their prayer level, things like that. Now, I understand their reasoning, as in it is frustrating when you are the lower equipped build, let's say, and your target is a voider, and the voider just completely takes away your inventory of food in 30 seconds. It's very, very annoying. And that's the reason why a lot of brackets are dead. But it's not necessarily because the amount of food you're able to bring, it's more because the builds were just so broken. Now, the funny thing is Morgan's got a bunch of defensive nerfs, but they never nerfed anything offensively. So these Morgan's 20 defense builds with greater corruption and everything, yeah, they can't double dark bow you anymore or dark bow into double throwing axe, but the accuracy and damage is still going to be absolutely insane on a pure account. And even just running dragon knives with smite up in full 20 defense corrupt Morgans, the DPS is insane. So we will have to see these supply crates. I'm not going to say they ruined Bounty Hunter. It's just very, very weird. I understand the concept, but even this, it's like, okay, you can put 8 blighted manta rays or anglerfish, 1 restore, 2 karambwan. Okay, that's right off the bat, that's 10 food. That's 10 food and 1 restore. So I guess the meta will bring a bunch of brews in your inventory and use the crates as food as needed. But the craziest part is not only is 1 crate 10 food, but look at this. You'll be able to bring 2, and I like how they say, but you'll only be able to bring 2. Oh my god, I only could bring an extra 20 food? Yes, for the example they use, the Pures versus Zerkers, the Pures are going to run through that food. But now with main fights, like, I'm pretty sure meds and mains are still going to use their special attack and then go to the bank and get full spec. Because no one's really waiting around looking for the perfect window after you've used your special attack. Because normally after you've used your special attack, that perfect window is gone. Yes, could you bring things and time vengeance? 100%. There's still things like the Heavy Ballista, the Elder Maul, the Nox Halley with combination of vengeance. 100% there's opportunities. Because even using vengeance alone against your opponent's special attack, you have a chance or a window of opportunity. But allowing meds and mains to bring an additional 20 food is going to really, really either shake up the meta or, in my opinion, could possibly ruin a lot of things in Bounty Hunter. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, basically that's what I was saying earlier. The Morgan's Javelin or axes depleting your run energy, that is the most redundant thing now, because who's going to be afraid getting lured deep into Bounty Hunter by a range build if you got 2 crates with 20 food combined in both, 20 total food. And that's on top of whatever's in your inventory. So now you could bring, the problem with this is now mains and meds, they're the ones who use brews more. And not even that much. But now that they can bring 20 food in these 2 crates, you could run like 8 brews in Bounty Hunter. And you can Manta Brew or Triple E over and over and over and over. And the reason that kind of ruins things is because if you can Triple E, before you were limited to 1 inventory, so the amount of Triple Eats you would bring per fight was very low. You brought 1, maybe 2, or let's say you brought 2, maybe 3, depending, it all depends on your build. But you didn't have 10 Triple Eats. Now you could bring 8 brews in your inventory, 2 of these crates. You got 2 restores in the crates, so you could bring 2 restores in your invo, and then the rest food. Guys, these fights, I mean, what the hell? That's so much healing. Personally, I think they made a giant mistake introducing these supply crates. Again, we'll have to see. I really don't see PKers jumping up and down in joy. If people want Outlast fights, they go to the Rev Caves. They NH. Nobody is trying to do super long fights in Bounty Hunter on high level accounts. And most of the people are just going to run back to the bank after they spec anyway. So yeah, I'm honestly very excited to see some videos of people using these new crates in Bounty Hunter. And I'm very excited to hear the feedback. They leave us with, supply crates mean you'll spend less time returning to the lobby and more time actually fighting. Combined with the EP changes above, we reckon this will improve the Bounty Hunter experience and considerably reduce downtime. We'll be keeping an eye out on your feedback about these changes, but for now, just go enjoy them. I love how they're like, just get out there. Whatever, you know what? I know they like things might be completely different than before, but just get out there. But you know what? Thank God they told us right here. But for now, just go enjoy them. That's it. Don't worry. Meta schmeta. Don't worry about the 100 changes we just told you about, or that you can get demaced 6 times in a row, or that your Morgans is basically the protection of a paper towel, or that Vestas is still super strong accuracy-wise and defensive-wise. Just go enjoy them. That's it. Thank you, Jagex. Will do. Anyway, let's get on to something a little refreshing. Let's see, we've got collection log updates. Okay. You might recall that back in May, we introduced some absolutely cloggers. Updates aimed at making your collection log journey smoother, more satisfying, and more fun to track. Well, good news. We've just added a fresh batch of updates, so let's dive right in and take a closer look at what's been added. A fresh new look. Let's kick things off with the revamped collection log overview. We've given the interface a complete makeover to make tracking your progress smoother and more enjoyable. Everything is now neatly organized into a single streamlined summary. Okay. First off, just looking at this, it looks absolutely amazing. It looks so much more appealing. It shows your latest collections. I love that they filled it with all of our favorite stuff. You've got your bosses, your raids, clues, minigames, other. It is just, that is 10 out of 10 Jagex. Amazing, amazing collection log update. Before, I'm sure most of you have opened your collection log at some point, even if you're not into it. But before you opened it up, and it was so unuser friendly that you had to go through a long scroll list, everything. First you had to make sure you were even in the right category. There was mini games, there were bosses, but it was all text on a screen and everything was very jumbled up. This is so refreshing, and I really feel like this will get a lot more people into collection logging. 10 out of 10. Good, great job, Jagex. Not good, great job. This fresh layout will make it a breeze to navigate your log, so you can stay focused on the important stuff, collecting. Beautiful. With all your progress in one place, you can effortlessly track your achievements and see how close you are to snagging those elusive items. Gorgeous. Now, this is what everyone's been waiting for, the ranking system. We know hunting down those collection logs can be a grind. To help you stay on track, we've added a ranking system based on how many collections you've logged. Here's what you're working towards. Bronze rank, 100 collections. Iron rank, 300 collections, steel rank 500 collections, black rank 700 collections, mithril rank 900 collections, adamant rank 1000 collections, rune rank 1100 collections, dragon rank 1200 collections, and gilded rank percentage based 90% of total log slots rounded down to the nearest 25. They're like, you know what? The gilded rank is going to be so iffy because of the third age and because of all that stuff. They're like, you know what? It's on a curve. It's on a grading curve. If you've got 90% of total log slots, you're getting gilded. I think these are very fair. It's fun. It's new. And most of all, down below, we got the cosmetic rewards. Before we get down to there though, let's see this. Additionally, along the bottom of your interface, you can now see the 12 most recent items added to your log. Perfect for keeping track of your freshest loot at a glance. Absolutely beautiful. To truly make the experience your own, the new interface is also resizable and movable. Again, 10 out of 10. Great job. Plus, it stays open during other in-game actions, so you can track your progress seamlessly while skilling, fighting bosses, or engaging in other activities. I absolutely love that as well. If you're on a Slayer task and you're AFKing, maybe you just got a new clog, whatever it may be, it is so nice that you can keep AFKing your blood velds or your whatever you're killing, open up your collection log, and keep on killing the mobs while you're looking at your interface. Beautiful. Cosmetic rewards. When you hit certain milestones in your collection log, head over to the collector in the Varrock Museum to claim your staff of collection. Awesome. That thing looks really cool. I'm surprised they paired it with the guy in Torva, not Masori, only because it's black and gold. Anyway, I can help them out with some Fashionscape recommendations later on. Reach new ranks and you'll earn a staff that matches the tier you've unlocked. The best part, you can right-click your staff to create an equipable corresponding book. Show off your collection log achievement and style. This is so cool. It is going to get a ton of people in the collection logging. People love cosmetics. They love showing off their rewards. Their progress, their achievements, things like that. So even the newer cloggers are going to see the experience, see loggers with these things, these staffs, and they're going to be like, dude, how did you get that stuff? What is it? Maybe they'll look it up. They'll be like, oh, wow, 100 collection log slots for a bronze. and that's very achievable. You can get 100 collection log slots pretty easy, even as a new player. Things like Mossy Keys, Giant's Keys, Black Boots, Ecumenical Keys. So again, 10 out of 10. Now moving on. No, we're not introducing charming wooden shoes to the game, but for Iron Man players, this is just as good. You can now add historically gained items to your collection log. Okay, this is very interesting. Let's see what they say. We understand how frustrating it's been that the collection log didn't track items earned before its introduction in December 2018, especially for those who've already completed the grind and don't want to start over. But worry no more, if you've obtained these items as an Iron Man, you can now retroactively fill in those slots by simply using the items on your collection log book. Wow. Now that's really, really cool for Iron Man. It's funny because they're like, main, sorry, you're SOL. There's basically no way to differentiate if you got that item on your own or not, which makes total sense that they're only doing it for Iron Man. But in case you're unclear of what that means they have an example right here. Basically, let's say you're an Iron Man and you got a Zerite crossbow or an Armadillo crossbow. Let's say you got the Armadillo crossbow before the collection log came out and you crafted it into a Zerite crossbow. So now your collection log as your Iron Man, it says you've unlocked the Zerite crossbow, not the Armadillo. All you got to do is use them both or use whatever one you're missing on your collection log, staff, or book, and it will retroactively add it. Because you're an Iron Man, it'll know that there's no way anyone gave it to you. You got it all on your own, and now it can be added to your collection log, so you can work on unlocking the highest collection log staff possible. That is very, very awesome. Wow, this is very cool for the C-Log community as well. We've got collection log high scores. Not only will you be able to flaunt your shiny new staff and book, but you'll also have the chance to climb the ranks on our brand new collection log high scores board. Get collecting and see how far you can get. Wow, this is going to be so cool, so fun for the C-Log community. Great job, Jagex. Everything after the Bounty Hunter, which was super controversial stuff up there. Everything after the Bounty Hunter updates was a beautiful read, so fun. All the updates are 10 out of 10. Great job. Next up, we've got emote improvements. Okay, chat triggered emotes. Ever wanted to show off your favorite emotes without navigating the emote menu? Now you can. You can trigger emotes directly from the chat box. Just type : or exclamation followed by the emote name. For example, cheer or exclamation cheer will make your character cheer. Yay. That is really cool. I can guarantee everybody we're going to see a lot more emoting going on. Emote looping. Get ready to groove because emote looping is here. You can now keep certain emotes like dance, jig, headbang, forward salute, and sit down going indefinitely, letting you show off your moves for as long as you like. Wow, that's really cool. To loop an emote. Right-click the emote in the emote menu, select the loop emote option. Your character will continue performing the emote on repeat until you move or perform another action. So grab those dancing shoes and let the endless celebrations begin. Very, very cool. I love how they use my boy in Elite Void with the Anguish as the example. My boy is getting it. We've got the sit emote. Need a break from all that adventuring? Take a seat. Literally, a new sit emote has been added to your emote menu. The sit emote will loop by default, making it perfect for chilling at the bank or around a campfire. This is also very cool. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you remember the resting back in the day. Everyone would take a rest, refill their run energy. But you know what? Just adding a new emote for people to sit, I really do believe at the Grand Exchange, we're going to see a lot more people using this emote and chatting. I already love bank standing, chatting in the FC, chatting in the CC, and even chatting with cool people at the bank. So very cool update. I can't wait to see some people chilling, sitting at the bank, having a good time. That is old school as hell. Now get out there and emote your heart out. That one I'll do. The one about bounty hunters saying, you know what? Don't worry about the changes. Just get out there and have fun. I don't know if I can do that one yet, but I'll definitely get out there and emote my heart out. All right, we've got RM's Ornament Kit returns. We're happy to announce that players who purchased the RM's Ornament Kit back when it incorrectly gave 3 kits instead of 4 will soon have their missing 4th kit returned. All returns will be processed on February 4th alongside other scheduled maintenance. That right there is hilarious. It reads out like a statement from Amazon or something. By aligning the returns with this maintenance, we can ensure that the process is completed smoothly and safely without the risk of disrupting gameplay or accidentally booting anyone offline. Okay, thank you for that, Jagex, because getting booted offline in the middle of something important is definitely not something any of us want. Thank you for your patience, and we appreciate your understanding as we work to return these items securely. Okay, this one's for you artists out there. We've got the Royal Titans Discord banner competition. calling all artists and creative minds to celebrate the upcoming release of the Royal Titans boss encounter. The OSRS Discord mods are hosting an exciting banner design competition. The winning submission will become the official Discord banner on the OSRS server, helping us commemorate the release of these two epic giants in style. Very, very cool. How to enter: create an original Discord banner that embodies the spirit of the Royal Titans, banner dimensions, aspect ratio, submit your design in the dedicated thread in the server events channel in our Discord server. If you don't have the permission to post images, feel free to DM one of the mods and they'll submit it for you. All entries must be submitted by February 2nd, 2025, one entry per person. Need inspiration? Check out the Royal Titans blog for lore, visuals, and more. Royal Titans first look and rewards. Very cool. This is very exciting for the mid-level community. These bosses are going to come with some mini versions of Augury and Rigor. And I believe Pures and Zerkers are going to be able to use them. It's giant for Iron Man. Very, very cool update and exciting as well. I do love how they added a quick disclaimer. Please note, this competition is being run by the Discord moderators, so while it's hosted in the official server, it is not directly affiliated with Jagex. They're like, don't look at us. If there's any mischief or rewards not dispersed, it's not our fault. Other changes: the Raging Echoes rug can now be built in the League Hall. Players can now create chromium ingots after discovering the secret of chromium smithing in the Undercity of Lasar. Wow, that is giant, especially for anyone who's hunting more chromium ingots to make their Desert Treasure 2 rings, to sell them or use them on their Iron Man or on their own account, whatever it may be. Very cool. Fix typos on the Maxscape teleport. Fix the visual issue with Scotiza's magic attack. It is now possible to click completed combat achievements task in the chat box to see their description. World hopping should no longer produce an abnormal amount of forestry events. Okay, so a little bit of a nerf to forestry. Another one, great. But down below we've got increase the rate, 50 to 150 seconds, 40 to 120 seconds, and radius 20 tiles to 30 tiles of player eligibility for forestry events. What I'm assuming that means is now you have a greater chance of forestry events in a bigger radius. So they had a nerf up above and I guess a tiny buff down below. The new deposit lock buttons can now be right-clicked to toggle the locks off and on again more conveniently. Okay, cool. I actually haven't used that update from last week, but I'm very excited to. So I'm glad to see that they're fixing it and trying to get it perfect. And last but not least, we've got the PvP World Rota, LMS, everything's changed. But let me give you guys a quick PSA if you don't know. Last Man Standing is on the US servers. But anyway, the update or the PSA I want to give you is all the rewards in Last Man Standing have more than doubled in price. If you don't know and you do like playing LMS, go play some LMS. The Trover Parchment is 1.2 mil at the moment. Looting bags are 55k. Wilderness Crab teleports are 50k. You can make some serious money there. Even if you're a new player who can access it, there's some low-level bots in there. You can get a few kill points right off the bat. And then even if you die, let's say you get 2 or 3 points. Right now, those 2 or 3 points are legit worth 100 to 150k. And if you're an experienced LMS player, it's about 3 mil an hour at the moment. A little more, a little less, depending on if you get max points every game and then win every game. So I would definitely go give it a spin. We can see down below, all the mods have signed this update after all those surveys they were not signing, didn't want anything to do with them. They're back on the update page. Great to see. Well, that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. This is my first time ever doing this. The only reason I wanted to is because I do love PKing, even though I'm not big on Bounty Hunter at the moment. I do love PKing. I love metas. I love builds. I love watching Bounty Hunter videos. And I just had to get my thoughts and opinions out there because I just had so much to say. So if you enjoyed this, let me know down below in the comments. Maybe we can do future update videos, or maybe this will be a one-off. We'll see. The only reason, like I said, I wanted to talk about all this is because it's something I'm passionate about. And who knows, Jagex may even listen to this by chance and may even take some of it into consideration. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. It's currently 5:09 a.m. for me on Wednesday morning. I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing day. If you're new to the channel, we do have a couple different series going on. A range tank from scratch with a 500 mil bank. We've got a baby pure from scratch we're building at the same time. And some really cool guides, so give it a look. If you've got your own opinions about anything I said, let me know down below in the comments. I read every comment, and I love chatting about anything PvP related. Thank you guys so much for watching and so much for listening. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Peace.